Hello everybody, my name is L8RG8R2U, and 8 years ago today, we uploaded our first Let's Play video. It's getting increasingly harder to believe that it's been that long every single time we make one of these anniversary videos, but here we are. It's been 8 years and we're still making these videos. So, just like what we've been doing the past couple years, I'd like to take this time to go over my thoughts on what we've accomplished the past year, as well as provide some hints on what you can expect in the near future. So, we were involved in a lot of projects, so let's just mention them all really quickly. Tomb Raider Trilogy, Nintendo Land, Super Mario 3D Land, Limbo, Portal, Splatoon 2, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D, Sonic Generations vs. Splatoon 2 Active Expansion vs. Super Mario Bros. 3 Co-op, Mario Kart 7 Co-op. That one's technically starting out because I wasn't involved in that one, but I'm still gonna get on it because it was on the Co-op channel and I'm involved in that channel. Luigi's Mansion vs. Tomb Raider 2013 vs. Limbo vs. Yeah, we were involved in a lot of stuff. So, yeah, we were involved in a lot of stuff, so I'm mostly going to be talking about my in-depth thoughts on things that happen on my channel, but I am going to briefly mention what we've accomplished on the collab channel as well. We finished Sonic Generations Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion versus Super Mario Bros. 3 Co-op, and James and Pancake did Mario Kart 7 Co-op, but I'm still going to talk about that here because it was on a channel that I'm involved in, so I think it counts. The only project on that list that hasn't been completed yet at the time we're recording this video is Tomb Raider 2013 vs, so I'm not really be talking about that one too much since it's still pretty early on in that series. But the other projects were a lot of fun to work on for their own different reasons. Sonic Generations vs was fun to work on because it's always really fun to work with Green Kerbos Gaming. Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion vs was a lot of fun even though it got pretty chaotic towards the end. Luigi's Mansion Versus in particular was a very interesting one because this was the first time Pink Garman and I did a co-op together. Not just a Versus, but in general. Like, all the projects before that were either between me or James or me and Brandon. James and Pancake did do a project before that, but this was the first time that Pink Garman and I were involved in one together. And it's very interesting seeing the different tones of our commentary whenever I'm recording with everybody on the channel. And it was really fun recording with Pink Garman, so Luigi's Mansion Versus was definitely a highlight. But I gotta say, of all the projects we worked on the collab channel, Super Mario Bros. 3 Co-op may very well be my favorite, because this one was just really fun to work on. There were a lot of really fun rage moments throughout the series where you can tell that James and I were kind of losing our minds playing through the game because it's a lot more difficult than what we usually play on the channel. But it was a lot of fun. It has a lot of my personal favorite moments from that channel, and you can expect the best moments of Super Mario Bros. 3 Co-op to be uploaded on that channel at some point in the near future. Mario Kart 7 Co-op was also a pretty fun one to watch. I wasn't actually involved in that one at all, not even as a guest, but that's mostly because I don't even have the game, so it's not like I could, and it didn't really make a lot of sense for me to go commentate when I wasn't playing the game, but regardless of all that, this was a really fun one to watch, so I greatly recommend checking it out on your own time if you ever get the chance. We also had Limbo Versus. There was 3 episodes. It was a very short series, but it was still a lot of fun to work on. But now let's move on to the stuff that happened on my own channel. We started off the year by finishing off Tomb Raider Underworld and Nintendo Land. So it was a pretty productive first quarter of the year because we did also wrap up a bunch of other projects on the collab channel as well. But let's talk about my projects. Tomb Raider Trilogy. Technically, the main series of that project is over, although we are currently working on bonus videos right now. Tomb Raider Underworld in particular was something that I've been wanting to cover for a very long time because I want to finish the Legend story, but for one reason or another, it just never happened. Then I got the idea to redo the Legend trilogy, redo Legend Anniversary, and finished off the trilogy with Underworld. It seemed like this idea, while it did go on for a very long time, it did seem like a lot of people enjoyed these videos, so I'm really glad that you were all able to stick around for that series. I know it was a little bit overwhelming for people who don't really care that much for Tomb Raider to have 3 games in the series back to back, but Tomb Raider is a very special series to me, and it felt really good finally doing Legend Anniversary justice and finishing off the story with Underworld. And Let's Playing this game also made me realize that if it wasn't for nostalgia bias, Underworld may very well be my favorite Tomb Raider game, because it expands on everything Legend did right. It expands on everything that game did in brilliant ways. It has some of the most fun level design in any Tomb Raider game ever, and it is just all around a really good story, and I'm really glad that I was able to finally share it with you. Nintendo Land was a very different kind of game than what we usually do on the channel. And personally speaking, I felt like the first couple of videos probably could have been better, but once we got into the more story-based attractions, I think that's when the Let's Play restarted getting interesting. And this one was a really fun one to work on because I have a lot of fond memories with Nintendo Land, playing that game with my family, and I also have a lot of fond memories recording this with my family because my mother and sisters were able to help me record some of the footage for this game, which I really appreciate. This was a really fun one, and the Balloon Trip Breeze episode in particular was one of the highlights of that year, so this was a really fun one to work on. I don't have a lot to say about Super Mario 3D Land, Limbo, or Portal that I haven't already said during those videos. Mario 3D Land was a really fun Let's Play to work on, but I'm probably not going to do that format of recording again, because it was a little hard coming up with funny gags and memorable moments for that Let's Play, when I was also working on live streaming it at the same time. So it was a fun project, but I'm probably not going to do that format again. Limbo was a fun one, but I will say that I was a little disappointed that I had to re-record half the footage for that series, because the whole point of that Let's Play was that it was supposed to be a blind series, but I ended up having to re-record the second half of it, or at least the majority of the second half, because my capture card corrupted footage. So that experience wasn't all that fun, but the Let's Play itself, I still had a lot of fun working on it, and I especially enjoyed the gag of trying to come up with silly, lighthearted excuses for the more morbid part of the stories, especially with naming the character Carl the Pizza Man. It's very silly, but that's just one of the things that I always think about whenever I look back on the Let's Play. And just like with Tomb Raider Underworld, Portal was also something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I feel really satisfied with how it turned out. Because Portal is one of my favorite puzzle games of all time. It's up there with Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, and I was really satisfied with how this one turned out, and I would love to Let's Play Portal 2 someday. But now let's talk about the big ones, Splatoon 2 and The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. I've been wanting to go back and redo Majora's Mask for a while, especially with the 3DS version coming out. My original idea was to make a bonus episode, but then I realized that I had too much to say about the remake to just do one video, which was the reason why I decided to redo the entire Let's Play, especially considering that we had also recently redid Legend Anniversary as well. But Majora's Mask 3D, while I would never say that it's perfect, it is still a really fun game, and definitely a good way to introduce you to the world of Majora's Mask if you've never played it for yourself before. I also really enjoyed working on this one in particular because I feel like I've kind of perfected how I handle Zelda Let's Plays, at least in terms of things like Wind Waker or Skyward Sword. And even though there were still a few lessons to learn from making Majora's Mask 3D, I just know that the next Zelda Let's Play is also going to be really fun to work on, and I can't wait for that. And Splatoon 2 is quite possibly one of the most important projects I've worked on the channel. That might sound a little silly, but this is something that I've been working on since 2017. I've been working on this pretty much since the game came out. I've been recording footage for that entire time. There pretty much was no gap between working on Splatoon projects, because I started working on this one pretty much right after I finished work on the Let's Play, and this doesn't even take into consideration any of the Versus projects we did on the game channel. So, this is one that's been a huge part of my life for a couple years now, and it honestly feels very weird knowing that there is an end goal in sight now. Like, we're most likely going to finish this Let's Play with this year, and it just feels very surreal to know that. And I'm also really happy with the feedback of this one in particular, because Splatoon 2 seems to be one of the most active viewers of any Let's Play that I've done on the channel before, and I really appreciate that, because this is such an important project to me, and I'm really glad to see that people are enjoying it. So those were all the Let's Plays that we did throughout the year. We could probably also talk about some of the other stuff we did, like live streaming or Gator vlogs or things like that, but let's move on to stuff that's coming up pretty soon. So, Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion is going to be coming to a close pretty soon, and with the finale of that campaign is uploaded, the rest of that Let's Play is going to be treated as a side project to other games that we'll be covering throughout 2020. It's a bit too early to go into more details about what exact games we're going to be doing, but I will reconfirm that one of the games that we did during the 12 Days of Gaming 2019 is going to be a full Let's Play this year. There's another project that I like to vaguely hint about right now, because this is going to accomplish a goal that I've had for a long time. For a couple years now, I've had a goal in mind where I'd create a Let's Play, and people would look at it and say, how in the world would that work as a Let's Play? And then they'd see how I do it, and use that as a basis for making their own videos on the game. There were a few things that came close to this goal. I think Nintendo Land was probably the closest that we came to this, but this particular project that I'm working on for this year is going to realize that idea. And there is also the major project. It feels really surreal to be saying this, but I can see a release date in sight for this huge project. This is easily the most ambitious thing that I've ever worked on for the channel, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done before the first episode is released, but it's really exciting knowing that the first episode is going to be releasing in the near future. There's not really much else that I can say about it without outright giving away what we're doing, but this is just something that I'm really excited to share with you. Something else that I'm excited to share with you is my plans for Gator vlogs. So this has usually been something that's limited to video game conventions, but there's something important that I want to talk about in this video, and I feel this is the best place to mention this. So some of you may know this, but a couple months ago, I found out that I was accepted into the Disney College program, which means that I'm going to be working at Disney World in a couple months. So this is very exciting, although it will have an effect on how often I can work on videos. But what I'm happy to confirm right now is that Gator vlogs will return, and I will be vlogging at least the first couple weeks of being at the Disney College program. I won't start a daily vlog or anything like that. I'm not going to try to be consistent for like 10 years or anything like that. It's just going to be the first couple of weeks of being at the college program so that I can share my experiences with you. This is something that I'm really excited about because I've been trying to get into the Disney College program since I was 18, and the fact that I'm finally going to be able to do this is really exciting. 2020 in general, so it's going to be a really good year. So before we end off this video, there is one more thing I'd like to talk about that we accomplished last year, and that's my book, Corporate Adventures Thunder on the Mountain. I don't usually talk about this in videos that much because this might sound a little bit weird because you'd think I'd want to sell copies of this thing, but I kind of just don't like the idea of self-promoting, so I do apologize if it does sound like I'm just randomly mentioning something that I am selling to people, but I just want to take this time to say thank you to everybody who's read Corporate Adventures Thunder on the Mountain. Whether you bought it yourself, or I gave you a free copy, or you're borrowing it from a friend or something like that, thank you to everybody who's been reading it. It sounds like people have been really enjoying it from what I've heard, so just a huge, huge thank you to everybody who's been reading this story. This is a story that I've had in mind for 12 years by the time that I got it published, and the fact that it's something that can sit on my desk and I can read it and share it with people, it's very exciting. And I'm really excited to be working on Corporate Adventures Book 2 right now. There's not much I could say about that right now because it's a bit too early for that, but I hope you're looking forward to hearing more about the future of what I am. And that was everything I have to say. So this video turned out to be a little bit longer than last year's anniversary, but that's just because we had a lot more to say in terms of what we accomplished last year. 2019 was a pretty successful year, so let's work towards making 2020 an even better one. thank you all for watching. Hopefully we'll see you again for my 9-year anniversary video. And until next time, lead gear to you. Oh yeah.